One of the first things all truck drivers learn early on is that the general public has no understanding or respect of just how dangerous it is to be around a big vehicle like a big tractor trailer. Now, having said that, this has caused some recent problems, and we're going to talk about those problems. In this video, we'll talk about how pedestrians have interfered with trucks, sometimes by complete accident, and the results have been disastrous. And it's mostly because the four-wheelers haven't been properly trained, and the pedestrians haven't properly been trained, and the laws aren't properly enforced. And that's what we're going to talk about here. At the end of the day, a truck driver and his career should not be put in jeopardy just because of the wrong actions of someone else, like a pedestrian or a protester or a four-wheeler. But that's what's been happening, and that's what we need to address. Every day, right across our nation, hundreds of trucks are cut off by cars that either don't realize the stopping distance a truck needs, or they just don't care. Every day, people in cars park trucks that are parked waiting for a loading dock or something. People come along and park trucks in so they can't get out and maneuver. Every day, four-wheelers will ride in the blind spots of big trucks on the roads, beside their passenger side mirrors or tucked in behind their trailer. And every day, people will weave in and out around big trucks that are stopped in traffic waiting for lights or whatever to go, and they'll walk in front of them, around them, behind them, and in some cases, like we've even seen in St. Louis recently, they'll try to cut between a set of trailers. And there's no way the truck driver is at fault in any of these situations. Let's look at this recent tragedy in Burlington involving a livestock trailer. The truck and trailer were waiting to pull into a slaughterhouse, and they'd been stopped by animal protesters. The light turned green. The truck driver thought he was good to go, that the protesters had moved out of the way, and one hadn't. He proceeded and he ran her over and killed her. Now, that's a needless tragedy, and my heart goes out to that woman's family. Apparently, she had a known history of protesting. Her group had a known history of protesting at this slaughterhouse. It wasn't her first rodeo, and it's not that I don't sympathize with the family. My heart goes out to her family. That was a terrible thing, a needless tragedy. But to blame the truck driver in this situation, I don't agree. She was dead center in front of the truck, and from what I can tell from the pictures, the truck, if that was the same truck, was a long hood W9 Kenworth. Now, the simple fact of the matter is that the average female in North America has a height of 5'4". The average male has an average height of 5'10". Have a look at the following pictures. The average height of a woman in North America is 5'4", which is how tall Kathy is. The average height of a North American male is 5'10", which is my height. And when you look at these pictures of us in front of the truck, you can see that in neither case do our heads appear above the height of the hood. There's no way when we're standing tucked into the truck, a driver could see us in front of that truck. And W900s are taller than Peterbilts. It is interesting to note in this case that 2 days prior to the woman being struck by the truck, Ontario had passed what they call Bill 156, which makes it illegal for pedestrians, protesters, to interfere with livestock trucks, because this has been a problem not just in Ontario, but everywhere, where protesters are interfering with the movement of tractor trailers in and out of slaughterhouses. It's gotten so bad in Ontario they passed a law against it. And here 2 days later, a woman broke that law or violated that law and was killed because of it. Trucks have had to cross picket lines for years. It's hard for me to fathom that police presence shouldn't be obligatory in situations where there are picket lines to help trucks ease through the picket lines so no one is struck. It's hard for me to believe that this slaughterhouse hadn't contacted the police or hired the police to help guide vehicles in and out through the protesters. Now, I can see both sides of the story here. The woman was there innocently. She was just trying to express her opinion, but she was in violation of common sense. So she bears some responsibility in this. However, does the truck driver also bear some responsibility in this? This is what nobody is truly sure of. If it had been me, and I'd known there were protesters walking in front of the truck, when the light turned green, I would have eased the truck into gear and rolled slowly forward, knowing that I had a blind spot in front of the truck. I'm not sure this guy did that. So there are problems on both sides of this deal. It's an extremely sensitive issue here. And the best you can do as a professional driver is to protect yourself by any and all means possible. Number one, always run with a dash cam. And these days you can even get systems with multiple cameras that can take pictures down the sides of the truck and that type of thing. Give you a complete visual around the truck. The second thing is, even though they're ugly and they grab a lot of wind, these hood mirrors, these convex hood mirrors, do help cover blind spots in the front of the truck and down the sides. The third thing is, and most people have them already, you should always carry a camera. Most people have them built into their phones. So if some incident, God forbid, happens, take as many pictures as you need to take to portray the full story. And number four, if you do enter into a protest area and there's no police guidance, don't go. Protect yourself. Turn around, park. Don't get involved with pedestrians in the first place, and then nothing like this can go wrong. Finally, God forbid, if you are involved in any sort of an incident like this, make sure you hire a damn good lawyer, because the odds are stacked against you as a truck driver, sadly but true. Part of the reason this upsets me so is because proper training for drivers, for all drivers, truck drivers and four-wheelers, is always downplayed. And it's such an important thing because it takes nothing to be involved in a major accident. And if drivers were taught to pay better attention and keep better control of their vehicles, we could reduce the accident level greatly. But training never seems to be an issue with the powers that be. They just want to throw people in the seats and let them run. And I disagree with that practice. And here's the price paid for poor decision making and lack of caution on the driver's part. It's hard to say how this case will pan out in court. Certainly, the woman made a bad decision to stand in the blind spot of a truck. On the other hand, the truck driver is partially liable for not being in total care and control and not easing into the clutch. It's often been the case anymore that the truck driver takes the fall, whether it's all his fault or not, or whether it's any of his fault or not. And that's the part you've got to watch against and fight against and guard against. Always, always take every precaution, think it through, ease into it all gradually. Don't get flustered or rushed by protesters or anything like that, or pedestrians. Be aware of your surroundings as much as possible, 360 degrees. It's a terrible tragedy when something like this happens, and there truly isn't any need for it. How do you think this scenario should play out in court? Is the protester at fault? Is the truck driver at fault? Or is there shared fault? No matter what, it's been a tragic accident. Stay safe, keep the rubber side down, and we'll see you on the back haul.
Hey there, big strappers. We actually have a Blue Tiger Bluetooth headset to give away to one of you lucky viewers. It has 93% noise cancellation, 30 whole hours of talk time with only 3 hours of rapid charging. It has Bluetooth 5.0 performance, connects to Siri and Google Assistants in over 4 different languages. So if you want to find out how to win one of these headsets, be sure to tune into our next live stream coming up next Wednesday when this video goes live, so that you can find out how you can win one of these headsets. Thanks so much, big strappers.